What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today we have to talk about an absolutely insane Reddit post that we got today. It was a talk with designer, and basically the developers answering questions, talking about things that they want to change in the game, problems that they saw, things they want to address. And this time around it had a rather curious, side to it, because it was talking about two things that we talked about before as well. And the number one thing was PvP. They are talking about new PvP game modes, we're going to check that out, and then also about guilds. And this part is something that, especially if you are a guild leader or like an official in your guild, you definitely have to know, because there are some massive changes coming to that, so we'll hop into that as well. It kind of also builds on our last video where we talked about the change from the name AFK Journey to AFK Journey Homestead, and then back from AFK Journey Homestead to AFK Journey, and all the things that were going wrong within the season, where we talked about AFK stages just being too grindy, they're just in general being too much grind with Doer's Trial, where we had like 55-60 stages already every single time. You can see I was slacking a little bit. But this like being a ton of grind, and then also of course a ton of grind the Legend Trial, where we also had to do like a ton of stuff, and yeah, it's taking a toll on certain players, that certain player being me, and of course some other people too. We saw the comments, many players were a little bit, well, not angry with the game, but just disappointed with how it went in general, and that they couldn't focus on the nice parts of that game. So now this is kind of being addressed within this post, and we are going to hop to some very interesting parts, starting off with the most important for the guild. We have to do one more thing before we go there too, because we already saw maybe that I stand there next to quite an interesting statue in my homestead, and that is the Creative Spark statue. That is the creator exclusive homestead item that you got for winning the, I don't know what it was, best creator competition. It was this video that they posted, and it's very fancy, and I have to show that to you. First of all, we can take a little bit of a look here. Seems to be like a painter there, but if you touch it, fireworks go on, and it says 2025, because it was the competition for the creators of 2025. Very, very cool. Going into the post itself, it is quite a wall of text with many smaller changes that we don't want to cover in this video. I will show them to you. Mostly we'll focus on the big ones, starting off with the guild post. You can check it out as well. I'll put the link, of course, down in the description if you want to read through it yourself. Talk with designers, Crown of Ashes, by the way, the name of the upcoming season. Very, very interesting. And they in general say the same that I already said, that they were looking at feedback, they were looking at videos, maybe even at the video that we posted, well, I posted, and kind of made a lot of points that were, well, very much so addressed in this topic. We're talking about PvP, lack thereof, and also about like the grind in general. A lot of things like here point in the same direction. So let's check it out. So I want to start off with the PvP updates, because we get an entirely new PvP game mode, and it's called Supreme League. Essentially, for the people that know also my other game, Idle Heroes, it's a little bit like IDA. Essentially, you do get qualification points by doing Supreme Arena matches. Each cycle lasts 3 weeks, and when the cycle ends, the top 50 players in each district will qualify for the league, so the Supreme League. And then basically you do tournament style competition with 5 teams. So you have to set up your best 5 teams, and they will go against another opponent and his best 5 teams. Winner goes to the next fight, and at the end ends up in the final, and there will be a champion. They haven't really said too much about the loot. They said Stellar Crystal and Twilight Essence, top tier endgame loot. I'm hoping for some kind of cosmetic with it. Either they go with the frame or some unique cosmetic set. Honestly, for something like this, a full cosmetic set. You should really be able to show that you are the champion in PvP. I think they should design a full, very, very glorious cosmetic set for that, and something that you can keep for, let's say, 30 days, and then you have to become the champ again. But for that time, you got it, and I think that would be very, very cool. Then was optimization coming up, also very, very nice. And then they started and went into social experience optimizations and guild content. And this is not really something that seems very exciting, but gets very exciting once we jump a little bit into the text, and you see that guild member cap increase. Maximum guild size will increase from 30 to 90 members, and this one alone gave a lot of players an instantaneous heart attack, I can promise you that. I think my guild leader got like some kind of burnout before this change even went live, because the idea of having to manage 90 members certainly got to him, and I have to say I can kind of understand this. I was told the guilds in AFK Arena are also 70 members, which is really huge for a gacha game. In other games that I play, or that I know of, it's certainly smaller. I know Idle Heroes with 30 members, and then we have Marvel Strike Force, for example, has 24 members, and most other games center kind of around that. Most games go for like 30 members. So seeing 90 is truly insane. And I had to think about like the average server size. We already did the experiment. Essentially, if you go to your dream realm and you just scroll down a little bit for your server, and I have to improve my score here still, I can't forget about that. And you scroll down, you can always see how many people are really competing for that, and how many people even got a remotely decent score there. We see a lot of people that aren't in a guild. 128 competed here. I think that is still very good, though a lot of them are not in a guild, maybe returning once for a few days or something and just trying to get a little bit of a score here, which is interesting. Few returnees there. And the people that were playing more actively, I guess, are around that. I think that's probably more the cutoff here, maybe a little bit down there even. But not too many really. And if you imagine you would wanted to source a 90-player guild just from your server, that is a madness. Like, this is a big server. For most servers, there aren't even 90 players active on there. But of course, there is a little bit of a solution in there. You can, of course, source your guild members from ally servers, and they plan to revamp that system. And I'm not too sure how it's going to look. I don't think they gave us a whole lot of details here to it. We have this text up here. In version 1.7.1, we will completely separate ally servers from districts. Ally servers will be merged based on when they originally opened to expand the overall social pool. So what this says from me between the lines is essentially that we are going to get, well, more mergers. So your server is going to get more ally servers. And we don't know how many yet, because I thought about it and it says, it seems so clear on the first look based on when they were opened. But I remember the first days of the game, and I played this game since the start, even a little bit before that. And on the first day, when you could join the official version, I was immediately thrown, I think it was S33. And I think we were over 150 servers or something on the first day alone. So I doubt they are going to throw together 150 servers from ally servers. I think that would be quite insane. I'm not sure what the idea there is, but in general, just the calculation is interesting already. If the guilds go from 30 to 90 members, and guilds will in general try to be full just for the sake of being competitively viable, that means that in general, 2 out of 3 guilds have to die in a sense, and for that they will provide a merging feature to make guild merges more interesting. Essentially right now, if you know 2 other guilds that are full, you can make a new super guild with 90 members, and you can use the merge feature to put those guilds together, which is nice, makes it a little bit more easy. Doesn't make it necessarily easier to coordinate stuff like battle drills, which was my initial thought. I mean, they kind of talking about more management roles here. They providing us with guild features. What they are really not talking about too much is quality of life. We're immediately going into guild showdown and real-time large map guild battles, which is cool, but not really the point, and not really solving any of the problems that come with having 90 members. Because even in my last video, I already complained about multiple things wrong with guilds, and I wanted to go into that actually a little bit more in the video yesterday. I'm very happy I didn't do that. But the thing is, and one thing particularly about guild, is that most of the guild mods aren't very exciting. Battle drills has a horrible lack of rewards that makes it completely not worth it. I think only like a few guilds are really competing for the top scores, and they're not doing it for the rewards, they're just doing it for the sake of competing. But never before have I heard somebody say, oh, I need to build this hero because it is probably good in battle drills, because that doesn't yield you any rewards. So battle drills is out for that reason. Clash Rounds has no interaction for the normal player. You basically get a message from your guild leader every single day, and it tells you, you have to position your your teams and on that slot, and whatever sends you the map, and you go ahead and you position them. Most players ignore the raid feature. I certainly do, even though it grants you loot. It is horrible. It is super annoying. I really don't like it. It gives you these tokens and then you can get some rewards, and I just have better things to do with my time, honestly. And yeah, so for the lack of interaction, this game was also not exciting for most people, and same thing goes, they don't really build any heroes for that. So, but at the same time, all those game modes also horribly lack quality of life. Clash Royale just looks bad. It is just really bad. For battle drills, we had a few more concrete things that I want to say. I really thought that we needed like a few teams that were just there, that the guild leaders could set and provide for that. And then also, you have a horrible time tracking who really competes in those game modes. How much damage did player X do in this game mode? This is very important if you want to manage a guild and do top scores, but you really don't get a whole lot of information. So you get the scores from the top 5 players. You can just like go ahead and then you can click on a season, and then you see, okay, there are these percentages there, but that doesn't really help you to find out whether a player maybe went on an extended holiday and didn't attack for the entire time. So it is rather annoying for that, and they haven't really put a whole lot of effort towards it, and I think this kind of screams disaster with 90 player guilds, at least if you want to be competitive. It is rather annoying if you wanted to manage 90 players. Same here in Clash Royale. How do you want to find out which member has their teams deployed in a good way? They have to think way more about this, I think. And also, I heard a very interesting thing that I wanted to throw in there. It's also not in the post yet. But there was the opinion that they should also rework the guild halls itself. We have 4 slots for statues over here. And I kind of like the idea that we should have a few more. Especially, I think it would be cool if you could like go on a player's profile and just see what their guild achieved. How many statues do they have? How successful was the guild? You can't really see anything, I think, there. We can kind of go for a guild member, maybe. Wait a second, let's go in my friend list. Let's check somebody out. Who do we have here? Can check out Mr. Ones and Zeros maybe. And he has like this Helios guild, and if we click on that, we see that. And I think it should show a little bit more how successful they were, how many statues do they have, did they do well in Clash Royale, stuff like that would be very, very cool. I think it has to be a little bit more in there. And that was a very interesting point that they had. And the aspect of like just having 90 members, or just having soon to be 90 members in the guild, has a few people very, very much so worried. We see this post here. It was at 43 likes. We could refresh a second. Okay, refreshed. It's now at 112 likes. It wasn't open that long. I don't know. Yeah, so a lot of people are very, very worried about 90 members, because right now having 30 members is kind of optimal. And when you have 24 members, for example, only in your guild, and you are very much so not competitively viable. You will lose in Clash Royale, you will not do enough damage in battle drills, and you will not get enough points in guild supremacy. So many players look at the existing game modes and they say, well, if we now can have 90 members, then this will be the new standard. This will be what you want. And not having that will be very, very, very annoying. And also the first thing was like, it sounds like a logistical nightmare to coordinate, and I think that is true. It's partly that we are lacking quality of life in this game to really make this viable, but also there's just like 90 people. And let me tell you that I have a little bit of a leadership position at my company as well, and I do have a job, obviously. It's just a small hobby channel that I do here. People always make problems. You don't even need many of those. They always make problems. It's just normal. It's just very, very much so human. If you have 90 of those, then you have permanent problems. And yeah, I think it will be quite annoying for most extent. And then there we have this interesting thing. The thought of forcibly merging my guild with another 2 or more, well, with 2 guilds that you have to merge with, and destroying the very strong culture identity we've created since the beginning of the game is enough to make me lose interest in the next season. And that is something that I think is very, very true. My guild is called Atomic. And they are very much so playing with this identity of being atomic, and there is another guild and they know this other guild and they have a certain identity, and it's all basically getting thrown out because now you have to put 60 more people in here and dilute this identity essentially. And I think this is something that is going to be tough for some players that really live with the idea of this guild. And we see some more comments below here. Yeah, we just aggregates to the top 2 guilds. You basically will have top 2 guilds if you, depending on the size, of course, of the ally servers. If you get like 1,000 players or something, or 2,000 players in the ally servers that you have around here, that's a different story. Then you won't just have 2 guilds. But if you just get like 200 players or something in here, then we'll have 2 big guilds and the rest is basically done. And that is another threat in itself. The bigger the guilds can be, the more likely it is that you get like a part of some people that are just like in guilds that will never be full because there are just not enough players for it. So it's going to be a bit of a problem. Normal Arena is going to look interesting too because we're going to have basically the same guild name all over it. But then again, Normal Arena is boring and stale, and I'm at number 1 all the time and don't do anything. So yeah, but there's a lot of opinions on there that are certainly very, very concerned about this, not a fan of this either. We see this here, AFK Arena, the 70 players guild with Abyssal Expedition. They have game modes in AFK Arena as well. And I wanted to talk about this in my guild video too, because the guilds in AFK Arena are way more advanced than in AFK Journey. It is seriously concerning that we had such a lack thereof of guild modes and interesting guild modes in AFK Journey when they already know how to do it from AFK Arena. We had also some reactions from the AFK Journey support. It says more ally servers will be added, alleviating the recruitment issue. We don't have the concrete numbers yet. How many ally servers there will be, how big will the chunks be, the combined amount of players in the ally servers altogether. We will get a guild group management tool. So the quality of life part that we talked about, it will be addressed to an extent. And then the management capabilities of guild deputy may be further enhanced. Of course, comes with the risk that the deputy will kind of do stuff in your guild that you don't really want them to do. So whenever you give somebody rights, there's also some risk involved with it. And if you don't have a certain management regarding the rights, what can somebody do and in which detail you can address this, then this can become a problem. So furthermore, this will need very much so more quality of life from AFK Journey, and this will need improvement at this critical stage where they've been very bad so far. Main reason for the 90 members guild is that the new mode requires a sufficient number of members for better experience and rich rewards will be provided. Regarding 90 member guild and other potential inconveniences caused by these changes, dev team lead also stated that we'll continue to monitor the situation, consider optimizations based on feedback. I don't know how often they have said that. Yeah, we will monitor this. And at the point when they react, it's often too late because players get immediately annoyed. They don't wait for it. They don't say, the dev is monitoring right now. They say, oh, it's really bad. And then they switch the game. So they actually have 2 guild modes here. In the first one, we have Guild Showdown. Each week the system will match a guild against a rival guild. From Monday to Friday, members can earn showdown passes by completing daily quests, joining 3 vs 3 Vanguard skirmishes, and participating in ranking-based activities, which sounds reasonably active, very active. Makes me concerned about like the time that the game needs in general. That's always a concern. As soon as you have active parts joining the game, other things kind of need to go. And I hope that the parts that kind of need to go a little bit to the side are more around the centers of Duras Trial, Tower, and AFK stages, because those are rather annoying to me. And I would gladly replace them for more guild-based activities that guilds can communicate about and have a little bit of fun with. So, and then on Saturday and Sunday, all guild members will pool their showdown passes together to challenge a guild boss, which is cool. Guild bosses in general are cool. I hope they don't do boring guild bosses again. I want to have switching guild bosses. Do a different one every week. Give them some mechanics. Don't have to be the best mechanics. They don't have to be super balanced. They can be bad. Honestly, they can be bad. It can be like, whoa, I had a cool idea for a boss, let's throw that in there, and then, well, the guild boss is bad one weekend. That's okay, as long as it varies, as long as it's a challenge, as long as it's keeping, or as it keeps being interesting. That is, I think, the most important part. Tell me how you feel about this. Do you rather have the same boss and it appears every single week, or a changing boss there? I would rather have a changing boss, even if it is bad every now and then. And then we get like this very small part here. Real-time large map guild battles. And apparently there is a similar mode in AFK Arena. It unfolds over a full week, this real-time guild battle mode. Planned for version 1.73, so you have to know 1.71 will be the start of the new season. 1.73 should be then, what is that, phase 2? Or phase 3 even? I think it's phase 3, so what's towards the end of the next season that will be. Focus on immediate head-to-head combat. 2 guilds will face off directly on a large map with no build-up phase, and it will be real-time combat, apparently. It will be real-time combat, real-time large map guild battles, where 90 players from both sides, so 90 versus 90 essentially, will fight there. And you can have different time schedules, that is okay. The fight will go on, the fight will progress. And you can have multiple time slots. I don't know how the time slots work. I mean, I know real-time stuff. Oftentimes, this is set like, I can, for example, a guild battle mode where you can set a defense and the other guild attacks that set defense. And you can, of course, attack whenever you want. The defender team is already there. I don't know if they plan for more interaction in that way. We have to check it out. There's really not too much there. We'll share more details as the development continues, and I think they don't really know too much about it yet, because it is planned for 1.73. So it is probably still like a good 2 months away from us seeing it, maybe even 3 months. So that is something we have to say. But I was very glad to see there will be an AFK progression experience. We're adding an official built-in speed-up function in a future update, which is good because those AFK stages need to be faster. I need to be done with my AFK stages for the day, honestly, in like 2 minutes. It is just my opinion. I don't really want to interact with it. It would also be okay if it would grind stages while the game is closed. If they can make that happen. Something like that. I just don't want to take my phone and throw it somewhere and let the game run for 10 minutes. I usually use it, so it becomes rather annoying. Recommended formation optimizations, there were some problems about that. Then we see 1.64, auto battle feature for Durastral, very great. At least allows you to take Durastral, click the auto battle game mode and put it in the background, so you get through that. There still doesn't address the problem that I had with the general format of adding 5 stages every single day, so you do Durastral every single day. I don't know which person thought that doing Durastral every single day would be something that we wanted to achieve. It's just very annoying. It should not be something that we have there. It should just be something that we do occasionally, or that we can do very, very, very AFK based. Not something that is part of the daily grind, I think. Or it should just be like one stage. At least towards the end of it, it was like, you do the 5 stages and you struggle at none. At least for maybe that I'm a whale. I don't know, maybe it was a whale thing. You can tell me down in the comments. But it was very boring. And I could have just skipped it. And there was no chance that I lose it for most part. It was just like at the beginning of the season phase. Sometimes I was too low level because I was a bit lazy. But yeah, separate formations for Darkswarm, okay. Soul Pact. And they were talking about the Graveborn Phantom being a little bit too strong, which I thought was funny, because it was like literally one PvP team was the Graveborn Phantom in Supreme Arena, which was really funny. There's also a code here. I'll put that down in the comments, and we basically come to the end of it now. There is not too much else in here. You can check it out. I thought it was kind of interesting. I was really interested also in this because I wanted to make a video about guilds yesterday, as I said. I was so happy that I didn't. There was just too much stuff in here, some of which addressed the things that I wanted to complain about, and nothing feels worse if you make an opinion video about something, and then on the next day the dev reacts. No, you want them to suffer. You want players to say, yeah, the dev is wrong. No, and if they react on the same day, that just isn't the right feeling. I mean, you kind of achieved the goal, but it just doesn't feel well. I have to say it. So lastly, there's one more thing that I want to talk about. Of course, it's a little bit of a shout out for Lootbar. Lootbar a very, very great way for you to get some dragon crystals. You can say they already have like an AFK journey experience coupon, because we're also going to go into the Fearing collab, which starts tomorrow. So definitely check that out. Hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss it. We are going to check out the heroes. We're going to do some summons. Will be great. We have over 200,000 gems, I think. But if you need some more, 3% off coupon right here, and a lot of other coupons that you can get. They have direct top up and lock-in top up. Lock-in top up actually very great here, because you can do it yourself. You don't have to let somebody else log in. They have this UI. I explained it, I think, 2 videos ago if you wanted to check out the guide. But it's super easy, and you just log in yourself. You don't have anybody else logging into your account, and you basically collect your dragon crystals yourself. But you can see it's way cheaper than in-game. Just go through the link in the description, support me with it, get yourself some cheap dragon crystals, maybe some packs as well. And if you are looking for some gems, good ways still, Classic Gazette will instantly give you 3,000 gems. So you can have up to, I think, 300 days or 360 days, I'm not quite sure, of Classic Gazette live. So it's a ton of gems that you can buy that way, just if you need them. And with that, we are basically at the end of the video. Let me know your opinion about everything down in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you think about the 90 player cap for the guilds. It seems a little bit mad to me. It might be a whole lot of fun, but it seems a bit mad to me. For me, a good thing though, and I want to end on a positive note, is that they seem to listen. They have addressed so much stuff that we mentioned in the last video, that players talked about also in the comments, that they complained about, that I feel it's a good thing that they are addressing it, that they are releasing more PvP game modes. I hope it's not too late for AFK Journey, because I think a whole lot of this stuff should have been done like 3 seasons ago, the PvP stuff. That is something that many whales really enjoy. And I feel like if they released that 3 seasons ago, that would have been a whole lot better for him. But we get it now, so I guess it's something. In any way, I hope you had a great day. And with that, we'll see us in the next one.